I'm really excited to talk about Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Page with you, Jen. So you said that
Yes.
you watched the match, right? You watched the whole thing?
That was the only thing I watched. Like, if I'm honest, this week it's the only thing. I've just literally not had a minute. But I was like, do you know what? I saw the internet going up bananas about it, so I was like, okay, I'll make the time to watch it. So I did, and do you know what? I was, if I'm honest, like quite apprehensive going into it. Two performers that I absolutely love. Like, I mean, I could literally, I feel like I could watch Bryan Danielson go forever. Like, I
Yeah.
really feel like I could. However, that's not strictly true, sorry, because I do quite not enjoy like 60-minute time draws. Like, I'm just not that guy. Like, I'm just not, my attention span's too short, right? Put it that way. However, I will say it was the quickest 60 minutes I've ever watched in wrestling. Like, it was exciting. It was, man, it was intense. Like, I'm trying to even remember because I watched it a few days ago, but it was honestly fantastic. I really, really, really enjoyed it. There was a lot of times where I was just like, right, wait a minute, this could actually go like
Like
either way
an
here.
hour, yeah.
Well, no. I genuinely, I didn't like. I genuinely was like, right, is this gonna go? Like, obviously I knew because people had said, but I was just like, my God, it was just so intense, and there were so many
Yeah.
points where I was like, surely that must be the hour, just because it was like I felt as if it was wrapping up, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, what the hell? Like, how are you up? What's going on? Like, it was just so freaking exciting. I loved it.
When we sat down to watch it, we actually didn't get to watch it live because Carlos has a gig on Wednesday nights. But I stayed off my phone and avoided all spoilers, like like I did for Spider-Man, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to know anything about this match, and I'm really glad I did because I didn't know that it went an hour. So when they opened, it
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of like, oh, this is opening. That's really
Yeah.
exciting. And then because then you're not bumping up against the end of the show, where if they start the match an hour before the end of the show, then you know that
You know
it's gonna go.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
So
fair, I think that's like always the kind of like good thing in these things is because you kind of go, oh, right, okay, right. Like when it does, you're more forgiving anyway.
yeah.
Like if it was at the end of the show, I probably would have been like, I'll skim it, and I would have probably missed like some really good spots like
Mm-hmm.
from doing so.
Because I think because we didn't know how long it was going to go, you just kind of like we got wrapped up in it like from the beginning because
Yeah.
everyone was on fire, everything was perfect, and then like Bryan Danielson spending a good like 10 minutes just kind of being a little shit and like going outside the ring and being like, I'm gonna take my time, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
I love
Did you
him.
not love that though? Like
I do.
love
I thought
this
it was
attitude.
perfect.
It's like it's something that we so rarely saw in WWE, I think.
Yeah.
Is this kind of like what is the word? Because it is like cockiness, right? But it's like I feel as if there's a better word to
I don't know. It's
describe
like
it.
there's a showmanship to it, and
Yeah,
there's like
yeah. It's less about it's less kind of like heely than cocky. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
more. Do you know what I mean? There, I feel as if there's an actual word for it to describe it perfectly,
I'm trying
but
to
it's like
think
we
like
never. Do you know what it is? Do you know what the difference is? I think it's because you can tell he is actually having the time of his life.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
think that's it. And I think that it just shows so much. And between both performers, like it just showed like how much they were actually loving being in there.
Yeah.
Like it was just, it was really like with any kind of long match, right? And I'm not talking about like an Iron Man or something like that, like something where you know it's going to be that kind of time limit and stuff like that. Because I always feel, for me personally, if I know it's going to be like a long draw, like time thing, I'm like, I do struggle with it, and it's
Well,
just
that's why
that's
I'm glad
me.
I didn't know beforehand because I'm the same
Yeah,
as you. Like
but I think
if I knew it was an hour going in, like that's why I struggle to rewatch like the Kenny Omega Okada matches because
yeah.
like I know how long they are, and then I'm just like, I gotta strap in for
Well,
this,
this is it exactly. And to be fair, sometimes I'm a bit like, okay, because it's just a bit too. There's not as much like I don't know, like showmanship in those kind of. That's
Mm-hmm.
a terrible way to say it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not invested.
It's a different kind
Between
of
them. So,
showmanship because this almost
yeah,
felt like more like I don't know, like something you would see in
it
like
felt real, like
Memphis.
not real, but it felt like real's not the right word, but it was more just like it actually felt like more of a show. than anything. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was gripped, and it was like something so, so exciting. And that's what I'm saying is when
Mm-hmm.
it felt like the fastest 60 minutes
Yeah.
of my life. Like,
Because I
it's
was into
bizarre.
it the whole time. Like, thank you
Yeah,
for
that's it.
subscribing, Scally. Thank you for using your Prime subscription on
Yeah.
us. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like, I think Bryan Danielson killed so much time at the beginning of it with his like
Well, he
going
had to.
out, and
Like,
then he had to, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way because the crowd was just like, oh fuck this guy, like he's
course.
just like,
But this
we
is
want to get
it.
it started. And Adam Page, like you could see the frustration on his face felt very real, where he was just like, I just want to wrestle, man, like I just want to
But
get this started and go. And
this is
Bryan just like killing all of that time and letting it get to that draw, I thought was perfect because I was like enjoying his showmanship, but it felt more old school Southern. Like instead of doing like tons of high spot flashy things, he just slowed it down and was like,
yes, absolutely. And do you know what? And I love that because I think that's like very much a kind of heel tactic that gets lost a
mm-hmm.
lot these days. Like when you try and slow it down, or I always think that now when heels do that kind of thing and they're just like, meh, they showboat it, they don't actually pull it back as much as they should to make
Right.
it really mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like I know Paige got like injured during it, and there was having to be time, and I wonder whether they were like, oh my god, we're gonna have to maybe not like do this, like we can't go the 60 minutes, this is a bit of a worry. So like I wonder if obviously that was a bit of a kind of desperation move on some point, but you never picked up on that. It just felt so
It
natural as
felt
to what was going
planned.
on.
Like I don't know, because I was wondering if he was
Oh, it
actually
felt
like
really, really
bleeding that
natural.
much, or like because everything felt natural about it, and like I couldn't tell if he was like actually bleeding because he didn't cut
Oh, did
himself
you
in the
think?
normal spot, or if
Oh,
he
did
like
you
did the
think it
blood
was a?
pack thing.
Do you think it was a blade or a?
I thought it might have been like a blood pack thing that he used because like it dried really weird on his face, but it's really hard to
But I thought
tell.
that's because they went in and kind of like tried to like,
Did the
they
Vaseline
do,
thing?
that when they do that UFC and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and they just kind of like not stitch you up, but like they just kind of like thingy. That's what I thought was going on. Hence why I thought he was out doing all that
Uh-huh.
for
Because
as
it
long as
did,
he.
like, it did take a while in the ad break for them to, like, attend to his cut, and it did seem a little weird that there wouldn't be countouts, but AEW does kind of more the New Japan style thing where they're not gonna, like, be hard and fast with countouts if it's
Mhm,
like
mhm.
a title match, like it's big, because they don't want it to end like that, right? Like, you want
Yeah.
to be able to continue and have people be able to continue and whatnot. Okay, like, I'm seeing that they glued it in the chat, which is what people are saying.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, like, because I know Gary Monroe mentioned that it was a little bit awkward, but like, I mean,
I,
Bryan Danielson working the crowd during that time, and
but
then
I think
they
that
did
the
it during an
awkwardness
ad break
worked
too,
it.
so I don't know how it showed
Mm.
up on Fight because it was in picture for me, so it was easier to like not be as distracted by
Yeah,
it
I
because
mean,
there were
I
ads
think.
happening.
Yeah, I think I got like 40 Charmin ads. Like when I was watching it, so I was like, yeah. So sorry, I didn't watch it on Fight, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I thought it was like great, and I thought it really, really worked. And the thing is, as well, if you're gonna do for Danielson,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that's he is such a kind of like. I don't want to say like protected character as such, but people are going to love him regardless. It's
Right.
actually, he is genuinely in such a hard position where he needs to get people to really go against him.
Mm-hmm.
Like to put Paige over as a babyface, that's like a really difficult job for somebody like him because he's freaking Bryan Danielson. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's going to love him.
Yeah.
Look at the pop when he came back. I struggle sometimes to forget that Adam Cole came back the same freaking night. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, that's
because he
a lot
overshadowed
different.
Adam Cole.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, it's just such a. You know as well, like if you're a wrestling fan, you know for a fact that he's been quite vocal about the fact that he's not going to be in this forever. Like he's kind of looking not towards the end of his career now, but he's like thinking, yeah, I'll be winding down at some point
Well, he
soon.
has said that he wants it to be near the end of his career, right? Like he's doing kind of like a
Uh-huh.
3-year
Yeah,
retirement farewell, basically, because he wants to go be a dad on his farm and like
totally. But
hang
this is
out
the
with his
thing.
kiddos and all that stuff, which is great. Like you shouldn't have to wrestle forever if you don't want to.